back to another episode of Housing for Good. We get to talk with amazing real estate agents who are not only having success within the real estate world, but also transcending that and having impact in our community. And today we are joined by none other than the Sande Bulawa. Welcome.
Thank you, Tom. Always nice to be here with you.
We have all kinds of stuff to talk about today.
Great.
But let's talk about before real estate, because you were in an interesting business for a while. With you were an airline, were you a pilot? What were you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Were you flying the planes?
Okay. So, yes. And back in the day, I turned the age 21 right in training school. So I started at the ripe age back then, but loved it. Flew for 10 years with Eastern Airlines.
Okay.
No longer here. But I found traveling to just be I learned so much.
Were you a pilot? Were you a pilot?
No, I was a flight attendant.
Okay. I was joking. I was like, wait, maybe she was a pilot.
No.
So before we start this interview, before this interview takes off, make sure your seat back is in the upright position.
That's right. And when I flew senior, me as a people person that I am, I used to always, little jokes, hold your coffee over your neighbor's lap as we had turbulence, but I enjoyed it and I had fun. And then after that, I went into hospitality. Mm-hmm. I worked for hotels. That's actually what I did out of high school right before I went into the airlines.
Okay.
And so it's always been about people and traveling, and there's just so much education. Then when I had my children, I went and I homeschooled. Mm-hmm. And we traveled. We did mission work, but we traveled a lot overseas, and I taught them through traveling.
Wow, what time frame was that? How many years were you homeschooling?
Yeah, so Kyle's 34 now, Joy's 28, but I homeschooled them their first 8 years.
Okay.
They both went to a high school. Kyle in Kentucky, where we were living, and then Joy here at Bushwick Christian Academy.
Wow.
But Middle Ages, medieval times, we learned in Prague at a lot of the castles, and we went around.
That's a field trip when you get to
a historian. Well, we did mission work through our church, but because I homeschooled, we were able to stay in they're like family now, and they gave us their cars. My husband would have to come home to his business sometimes, but we actually drove to the different countries, and we learned a lot. But it's we sat with people that nowadays, they say we're shooting and different things, but we can, all three of us, my kids and I can honestly say we sat with people of different beliefs and faiths, and we had a great time learning about cultures.
So at what point then did you decide that real estate was going to be something that you wanted to pursue?
So to this day, we just celebrated 45 years, and in that time, we've lived in 18 different homes.
45 years.
Of marriage.
Yeah, okay.
And we've lived in 18 different homes. And Ken and I have always enjoyed looking at model homes, open houses. He's more the decorator. And again, I'm working with people, finding them their dream home, working through challenges that we may have to work through. But it's all so worthwhile. I have all of my clients, I can say 90% of my clients are friends.
The other ones are jerks?
No.
I'm just joking.
But, people who aren't as, like my husband and I actually go out with two different couples, two of our couples, where the husbands got to know each other. And we go out like once a year, and the other one is singing now. We go and visit, and kids. I just went to a baby shower, and they just had their baby, a baby shower a month ago. And that was the third transaction I had with this young couple in their late 30s.
Oh.
And they informed me that they'll be moving again in a couple years because their family is growing.
I was going to say, as they keep expanding their family, they need more room.
I love it. I just love it.
I don't know how many other people have that experience in being a flight attendant, but I think that it's interesting because that's sort of where I see the real estate role working, right? If everything goes well, it's just a fun transaction, but you're always prepared and always in your mind, like looking for what might not go well because you've got the safety of these passengers, and that mindset probably carries through into your real estate side.
Exactly, because before each flight, and I flew senior, that working first class, and we would have to do a little skit, before we went on other flights. Impromptu, I would just call in, either myself or someone, to what if this happened? what is your response? Because we always have to have that in the back of our mind. So, I mean, whether it be oxygen or whether it be, by the window seats and really checking those. And now, I mean, I just got back from a trip with my 94-year-old dad going back to Chicago. And the girls were like my age. And they're like, oh, you should come back and fly. You'd love it, But I said it is exactly that. And now it's just strictly because they don't really serve any food like we did, a full meal.
Sure.
But now it is exactly just the emergencies.
Yeah, comfort is there, but definitely there for understanding the training, I would imagine, is quite intense. And that, I mean, in real estate, it's the same way, right? When people see the easy side of real estate, like, oh, you just put a sign in the yard, the house sells. They don't see everything else that you prepare for and plan for and all of those contingencies. And, the world is changing, the rules are changing.
Mm-hmm. We know that. Mm-hmm.
Well, and speaking of changes, you just, is it okay to announce where you're working now?
Yes, yes.
So this is a fairly recent change, which you went to...
July 1st, I went to Tierra Antigua. And the reason being, I miss not being with my local and my community-oriented brick-and-mortar brokerage. There's something for everyone. And Tom, you and I met at Local First 7.5 years ago.
That is... I did not know it was 7.5 years ago, but I remember we'd met there.
Yeah.
And we had talked for some time and immediately understood your passion for this community and wanting to support the local entrepreneurs and
yes
and seeing you with TRN2, and you've had success with other companies, and there's nothing against anything else, but this just seems like a fit for you because of that locally owned connection.
Yes, and I'm only 10 minutes from the Tanque Verde office, the East office, and for me, because I caregive my dad and my husband is home now, it's great for me to be there, and it's encouraging because a lot of the very successful realtors, they're in the office, and I'm holding open houses, and as you know, I'm marketing highly in Vail because both of my adult children are educators there at 2 different high schools, and so I'm there a lot, and there it's all school and communities, and I'm doing open houses there now. And it's just, that's another thing I just love about Tierra. We're a family, and it's always put on our internal emails when someone's looking for an open house or if I wanted to do an open house. And I've always been an open house queen.
You do very well.
Hospitality again.
Yeah, people show up and they latch on to you.
Yeah.
In Vail, it's not just marketing in Vail. I mean, that community, because both of your children teach there, you've been heavily involved with the school system, and you got some award recently, didn't you? Like a recognition of volunteer of the year or something to that effect? Yeah,
and right now I can't even recall, but I am very involved. I'm on PTO with a couple of the high schools that my kids teach at. And in Vail, they are not their own city. That has not passed yet. For the 3rd time it went down. But it is growing so much, and their community is their school district. Like I'm on the chamber, so I do know a lot of the people. And as I've sat with the superintendent even, it's like everything is done for the schools through the community. And I believe, I'm not 100%, but I think there's 22 schools, including all of them, including high schools to elementary. And now my grandson is in an elementary. I go there.
Your grandson's in elementary already?
Yeah, he's first grade. Just went into first grade. So I volunteer at his school. I was just there for picture day. And oh my gosh, all the kids, they just warmed my heart. But so I am very involved. And Vail Voice is the local paper out there, which I have done advertising in. But the editor just phoned me, and she said, we're looking for maybe one of the schools, knowing that I have some connections, for them to take a column to do all the new businesses. So I talked to my son, and they gave me the name of the journalism contact. And then I talked to my daughter from Cienega, and here she is, the journalism contact. So I connected her. But they're kids. They don't get paid.
Sure.
But their names are going to be on it, the school's names, and it just is just still a community. It's growing leaps and bounds, as you know.
Yeah, and I think the fact that both of your kids, your adult children, teach there, that has
Yeah.
From the stories you've told me, I mean, people know you when,
Yeah.
when you come on campus.
Yeah, and I advertise on the field, at Micah Mountain, and but I'm and Tom and I are going to be hosting Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus this winter.
I heard they're going to fly in for a special occasion in December.
Yes, and
looking forward to meeting them.
And our wonderful marketing lady.
I'm not sure which list I'm on, so I'm a little nervous about meeting him. But
our wonderful marketing lady, your marketing lady, Lisa,
yes.
who's mine now too. She and I just met up there, and we have a wonderful setup. They're letting us really going to do this big during the second Saturday, which is every second Saturday of the month. They have between the tracks. They have it's like a farmer's market, and so we're going to be there with Santa. And that's going to be a lot of fun. And even Kim and Matt, who are the owners of the TRNT brokerage, want to be involved in it.
Oh, wow. Let's see.
So
they probably know the big guy personally.
Yeah.
They're probably the first name. They probably just call him Nick.
Yeah, Nick.
The rest of us, like Santa.
So it's going to be fun. And I love doing community things.
Oh, I know.
I just love being there. I love supporting. It's still just a quaint. They just built a barbershop. It's just still like Mark Tate, who is almost like the mayor, which they don't have a mayor because they're not a city. But he said it's just if somebody's barn goes down, they still help their neighbors. But they are growing, but they are still, there for their people.
Yeah, it's a very nice community, and it's interesting because I know a lot of real estate agents and others that get involved with their schools because their kids are there. Yeah. But your kids are there in different capacity as teachers.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you've really kind of grown through that. And I do know, I mean, there was a recognition. I know you're very humble about it, but you did get recognized as having that volunteer spirit award. And I think that's tremendous, given that you don't have children attending schools. Well, not a grandchild, but at the time you didn't. And then the other thing, which I've loved about you since we met 7.5 years ago, was the commitment to supporting local businesses.
Oh, yes.
And I've seen you doing videos on your Instagram, and you're highlighting local businesses, talking to business owners. And I think that comes somewhat. I see there a correlation between like the homeschooling and how your children are very entrepreneurial minded and they're very independent. But I see you supporting a lot of the local community through those organizations, and I guess we'll see you back at Local First now with your
that's my next thing. That's my next thing. I've been learning so much through Tierra Antigua. I just want to give a shout out to them. They have so much education with all these changes, and just the CE classes we take every 2 years. They offer those free of charge to their agents, and they're just such a great help in their offices. And they have 7 offices now, and they're all owned. They own them all.
I didn't realize they had 7 offices now.
And that's another one of their beliefs. They believe in owning the real estate.
Sure.
And I really,
they're
intrigued by that.
It makes sense. Matt and Kim, great people in our community. We need to have, we had Kim on this Housing for Good very early on when we were talking about community involvement. It was kind of a no-brainer that she would be, she may have been the first person we interviewed. I think she was the very first person we interviewed because of what Tierra Antigua has done in this community through their foundation and through their agents and how they attract people like yourself to them for not just the business practices, but their community involvement.
Right.
So you do a lot. You got videos going out there, some professional videos, some fun videos, and community videos. But where do people find these? Where do you post a lot? Are you on the Instagram? Are you ticking and talking?
Good question. I am on Instagram and Facebook, and those do correlate. Yep. And some of them, which are the educational, which I do, like you said, I do videos. I try to do a local business, and once a week, and I do a little bit of something of what I've done, volunteering in the family. I just did photo days. I just at my grandson's school, Desert Willow Elementary, and. But I also, I do want to learn TikTok, which I haven't learned yet, but I see that that's really become a big one. But, and I also YouTube. Okay. So any of my videos that I do, and you and I have done videos and we'll continue to do videos, I put those as a post, but they always go on in my YouTube account.
And where, like, what are the handles for these accounts? So, like, where's your YouTube? Is it under
Sande Bulawa Realtor?
Okay.
And pretty much all of them are that.
Okay.
Sande Bulawa Realtor. And then the other thing is my new, with Tierra Antigua, I have up my new website set up. And I do blogs on there. I do pictures. I have a very large resource tab there because I just want to be, whether they are my clients or not, I just really love giving. Mm-hmm. And I have resources for people to help you declutter, to help you pack up, from the electricians to anything you just give a resource for. I have you in there as well.
Yeah.
We just had a closing together in June. Yes, that was great. I always love working with you.
Well, thank you.
And so I have a lot, and the more I meet people, I'm putting more and more on there there's so many different areas that we don't even realize that our clients can use help with. So I try to go through the whole system of just buying, selling, and just having stuff in there for people. So
What's that website?
that is sandrabulawa.com.
Sandra. Very fancy.
Sandra, yeah. I couldn't use Sandy. For some reason it wouldn't take it. So sandrabulawa.com.
And it's BULWA?
BULAWA.
Oh, yeah, of course. BULAWA. Sorry. We'll make sure we put it properly on the screen. Well, Sandy, it's always fun to chat with you. I love what you're doing in the community. I love your enthusiasm, and I think it comes from day one when you were a flight attendant, and everything you've done since then. It all sort of comes through in your real estate career, and the way you treat people and the way you protect people in the transactions. I think it all correlates with your past and your background, and that is why you are on Housing for Good.
Well, thank you. I really enjoyed this, Tom. And as always, I love working with you.